Dawan Echoes of Rome, A Quiet Dawn. Close your eyes and let yourself drift back through centuries of noise and rush, back to a time when the world moved differently. We're going to Rome, but not the Rome you might expect. Not the marble monuments or thundering chariots. Instead, we're slipping into something quieter, something almost forgotten. Picture this with me. It's that hushed hour just before dawn, when the city exists in a space between sleeping and waking. The sky above Rome holds that particular shade of deep blue that belongs only to early morning. Not quite black anymore, but not yet touched by the sun's first light. In this gentle darkness, the city breathes softly. You can hear it, can't you? The distant sound of wooden cartwheels rolling over ancient stones. The soft clip-clop of a donkey's hooves echoing down a narrow street. Someone is already awake, already moving through their day with quiet purpose. But these sounds don't disturb the peace. They're part of it, like a lullaby the city sings to itself. Listen closer. There's the gentle trickle of water, always water in Rome. It flows from fountains and wells, from the great aqueducts that bring life to this sprawling city. But right now, in this moment before the world fully awakens, even the water seems to whisper rather than rush. We're standing in a small courtyard, one of thousands tucked away behind the busy streets of Rome. This isn't a grand villa or imperial palace. It's something far more precious, an ordinary space where ordinary people find their peace. The courtyard is enclosed by simple walls, worn smooth by time and weather. Clay tiles overhead create a gentle canopy, and between them, you can glimpse that deep morning sky. In one corner stands a small olive tree, its silver-green leaves catching what little light filters down. Its branches reach upward with patient grace, the way olive trees have done for centuries, for millennia. At its base, clay pots hold herbs that release their fragrance into the cool air. Rosemary, basil, mint. Scents that speak of home, of nourishment, of care taken in small things. The stone paving beneath your feet is uneven, worn smooth by countless footsteps. Each stone tells a story of daily life, of people who walked here, worked here, rested here, people who understood something we've perhaps forgotten in our hurried modern world. Against the far wall, water trickles from a simple fountain into a stone basin. It's not grand or ornate, just functional beauty at its finest. The water is clear and cool, reflecting the olive tree's branches and the slowly lightening sky. Moss has grown around the edges of the basin, soft and green, nature's gentle claim on human creation. A single oil lamp flickers nearby, its small flame dancing in the still air. The light it casts is warm and golden, creating pools of gentle illumination that seem to make the shadows softer rather than deeper. This little flame has been tended through the night. Not because anyone feared the darkness, but because there's comfort in that steady, living light. As you settle into this space, you begin to understand something the Romans knew well. Something they had a word for, though we've lost the full meaning in our busy lives. They called it odium, not laziness, not the absence of purpose, but the art of meaningful rest, the wisdom of knowing when to simply be. In our world, we've forgotten how to do this, haven't we? We've been taught that every moment must be productive, every pause justified, every silence filled. But here, in this quiet Roman dawn, a different truth emerges. Sometimes, the most important thing you can do is nothing at all. The Romans understood that odium wasn't empty time. It was space for the soul to breathe, for thoughts to settle like sediment in still water, for the heart to remember its own rhythm. It was time for contemplation, for gentle conversation, for watching the light change across familiar walls. Listen, do you hear that? The first birds are beginning to stir, not the full chorus of dawn yet, just a few tentative notes, a sparrow testing its voice, a dove calling softly from the rooftop. Even they understand this gradual awakening, this gentle transition from night to day. The air itself seems different here. Cooler, yes, but also lighter, somehow, as if the weight of the day hasn't yet settled upon it. Each breath you take carries the scent of herbs, of stone warmed by yesterday's sun, of water and earth and growing things. It fills your lungs with peace. In this courtyard, time moves differently. Not the relentless tick of minutes and hours, but the organic flow of natural rhythm. The water trickles at its own pace. The oil lamp flickers according to the air's gentle currents. The olive tree's leaves rustle only when they choose to dance. You can feel your own breathing beginning to match this rhythm. Your shoulders, which have carried so much tension, start to release. Your mind, which has been racing through endless lists and worries, begins to slow. This is what the Romans knew, that peace isn't something you achieve, it's something you allow. The fountain continues its quiet song, water meeting stone in an ancient melody. Each drop that falls creates tiny ripples across the surface of the basin, circles that expand and disappear, expand and disappear. There's something hypnotic about this rhythm, something that speaks to the deepest part of your being. As you watch the water, you notice how it reflects everything around it: the olive tree's branches, the flickering flame, the slowly brightening sky, even your own face, peaceful now in the gentle light. The Romans believed that still water was a mirror for the soul, a place where you could see yourself truly, without the distortions of daily chaos. What do you see reflected there? Not the person who rushes from task to task, who carries everyone else's needs, who performs and pleases and pushes through exhaustion. Instead, you see someone softer, someone who remembers how to rest, someone who knows that your worth isn't measured in constant doing. The sky above is beginning to change now, still deep and peaceful, but with the faintest hint of warmth creeping in at the edges. Dawn is coming, but slowly, gently, without urgency. Even the sun understands the value of gradual awakening. In this space between night and day, between sleeping and waking, you're discovering something precious. You're remembering that you don't have to carry it all, that there's wisdom in setting down the weight you've been bearing, that rest isn't selfish, it's necessary. The Romans built an entire philosophy around this understanding. They knew that a life without odium, without these moments of peaceful pause, was a life half-lived. They understood that the soul needs stillness the way the body needs sleep, the way plants need both sun and shade to grow. As we sit together in this timeless courtyard, listening to the water's gentle song and watching the oil lamp's steady flame, we're participating in an ancient ritual. We're choosing to be present, to be still, to remember that sometimes the most radical act is simply stopping. The water continues to flow, the light continues to flicker, and somewhere in the distance, Rome continues its gentle awakening. But here, in this moment, in this peaceful space carved out of time itself, you are exactly where you need to be. And as the first hint of true dawn begins to touch the edges of our Roman sky, we prepare to discover more about this lost art of meaningful rest, this ancient wisdom that the women of Rome carried in their hearts, this gentle rebellion against the tyranny of constant motion. But for now, just breathe, just be. Just let the fountain sing you toward whatever dreams await in the growing light of this eternal city. Senses of stillness, a baker's stall, and an empty bathhouse. The fountain's gentle song carries us deeper into this ancient world, deeper into understanding what it truly means to rest. In the growing light of dawn, Rome begins to stir, but slowly, gradually, like a sleeper turning toward morning without quite waking yet. This is the hour when the city belongs not to emperors or senators, but to the quiet spaces between, the forgotten corners where stillness lives. Let us walk together through these peaceful streets, past shuttered shops and empty squares, discovering the sensory gifts that Rome offers to those who know how to receive them. Your breath can slow now, matching the unhurried rhythm of our steps on worn stone, feeling how the ancient world understood something we have forgotten about the sacred nature of quiet moments. Here, just ahead. Do you see it? A baker's stall, its wooden shutters drawn closed for the night. The work is done, the oven's cooling, the last loaves long since carried away to feed the city. But something beautiful remains, something that speaks to all our senses in the gentlest way. The aroma. Oh, the aroma still lingers here, not sharp or demanding, but soft and welcoming, like a whisper of wheat and warmth that seems to rise from the very stones. Bread, that most basic gift, that daily miracle that Roman women knew how to coax from flour and fire and patience. The scent wraps around us now, comforting, familiar, connecting us to thousands of years of hands that kneaded, of hearts that waited, of the quiet satisfaction that comes from creating something nourishing. You can almost feel the lingering warmth, can't you? The way heat holds in stone long after the flames have died, the way the wooden counter still carries the memory of fresh loaves cooling, the way even the air seems softer here, gentler, touched by the ghost of steam and the whisper of grain. A small cat has claimed this space, curled into a perfect circle on the stone step, fur dark as midnight against the pale marble. She sleeps without worry, without the need to perform or please, simply existing in this pocket of peace, trusting in the residual warmth, the lingering sense of safety and sustenance. This is what the Romans understood about odium, that rest is not empty, not void, but rich with subtle pleasures, full of gentle gifts for those who pause long enough to receive them. The baker's work is finished, but the blessing of that work continues, in fragrance, in warmth, in the simple presence of nourishment made manifest. Let your shoulders drop a little more. Let your breathing deepen as we absorb this lesson in the sensory nature of true rest. You don't have to create anything right now. Don't have to produce or perform. You can simply be present to what already exists, the lingering gifts, the quiet abundance that surrounds us when we stop rushing long enough to notice. The cat stretches once, a slow, luxurious movement, then settles back into her dreams. Even she knows something we often forget, that rest is not laziness, not failure, but a way of honoring what has been accomplished, of allowing the fruits of labor to be fully received, fully appreciated. Come, let us continue our gentle journey, leaving the baker's stall to its peaceful slumber, carrying with us that sense of lingering warmth, of work completed, of simple abundance quietly offered to anyone wise enough to pause and breathe it in. Our footsteps echo softly now as we approach another gift of Roman wisdom, another space where the senses can rest and be restored. Here, through this archway, lies one of the city's great bathhouses, but not as you might imagine it during the busy hours of day. This is the bathhouse in its hour of solitude, empty of crowds, free from chatter and splash and the endless negotiations of social life. This is the bathhouse as sanctuary, as temple to the senses, as a space where water and light and silence combine to create something approaching the sacred. Step with me into this vast echoing space. Feel how your voice would carry here, how even the softest whisper becomes something larger, something that seems to rise toward the high, arched ceiling and return to you transformed. the acoustics of emptiness, the music of space itself, the way silence can be not absence, but presence, not void, but fullness. The water lies still in the great pool, its surface like dark glass, perfectly reflecting the shafts of early sunlight that stream through the high windows. No ripples, no disturbance, just the quiet perfection of water at rest. Water allowed to simply be water, without purpose or demand, without the need to serve or cleanse or refresh, just existing in its own liquid grace. Steam rises gently from the surface, not the thick, overwhelming heat of midday when bodies crowd the space, but delicate wisps, like prayers made visible, like breath made manifest, rising and dissipating in the golden light, creating patterns that exist for just a moment before dissolving back into air. The marble beneath your feet is smooth, worn by countless footsteps, but now it offers itself to you alone, cool and solid and reassuring. You can feel the craftsmanship in every stone, the way Roman builders understood not just function, but beauty, not just utility, but the deeper human need for spaces that honor the senses, that remind us of our capacity for appreciation, for wonder, for the simple pleasure of being embodied in a beautiful world. Light moves across the water in slow patterns, shifting and dancing without urgency, creating a visual rhythm as gentle as your own heartbeat, as natural as your own breathing. This is light allowed to play, allowed to create beauty for its own sake, not harsh or demanding, but soft, welcoming, like the visual equivalent of a lullaby. In the corner, barely visible, sits an attendant stool, waiting for the freedman who will arrive soon to begin the day's preparations. But for now, it stands empty. A reminder that even those who serve deserve rest, that even the most humble work has its rhythms of effort and ease, its seasons of doing and being. This freedman, this former slave who now tends the baths, he understands something about the preciousness of quiet moments. Having known what it means to have no time that belongs to himself, he treasures these early hours when the bathhouse is his alone, when he can move through his preparations slowly, mindfully, when he can appreciate the beauty of the space he tends without the pressure of serving others. You can rest here too, in this understanding, this recognition that everyone, regardless of status or circumstance, deserves moments of peace, spaces of beauty, times when the senses can simply receive without having to give back, when being is enough, when presence is the only performance required. The echo of your breathing mingles with the soft sound of steam, with the almost inaudible whisper of light moving across water, creating a symphony so gentle it barely registers as sound, more like a feeling, a vibration, a reminder that you are alive, that you are present, that you are exactly where you need to be. This is the gift the Romans gave themselves, and the gift they offer us across the centuries. The understanding that true rest engages all our senses, that peace is not numbness, but heightened awareness, not escape, but deeper presence, not absence, but the fullest possible engagement with the subtle beauties that surround us always. If only we pause long enough to receive them. Let the steam rise around your thoughts now. Let the golden light dissolve any remaining tension. Let the smooth marble support not just your body, but your spirit. As you sink deeper into this ancient wisdom, this timeless understanding that you, exactly as you are, deserve these moments of sensory peace, these gifts of beauty freely given, these spaces where your weary soul can finally rest. The bathhouse holds us gently, as Rome herself holds us, in the eternal embrace of those who understood that being human means needing beauty, needing stillness, needing spaces where all our senses can remember what it feels like to simply be. Illuminations, lamps, and alleyways. And as the warmth of the bathhouse settles into your bones, as these ancient stones cradle your weary spirit, we find ourselves drawn deeper into Rome's gentle embrace, into the softer hours when day surrenders to night, and the city transforms into something altogether more intimate, more mysterious, more yours. The sun has slipped behind the 7 hills, painting the sky in watercolors of amber and rose, and now comes that magical hour when Rome belongs not to the crowds, not to the merchants and the senators, but to the dreamers, to the wanderers, to souls like yours, who find their truest peace in the gentle transition between day and night. Come with me through these quieting streets, where the bustle of commerce has given way to something softer, something that speaks to the part of you that has always found comfort in lamplight, in the mystery of shadows, in the promise that night brings not darkness, but a different kind of illumination. Here, on this narrow street where the buildings lean close together like old friends sharing secrets, a single window glows with warmth on the stone sill. Weathered smooth by countless Roman hands sits a simple oil lamp, its flame dancing behind glass, casting the most beautiful golden light across the rough-hewn stone. This is not the harsh glare of modern life, not the demanding brightness that insists you perform, you produce, you shine. This is something altogether gentler, older, wiser. This is light that asks nothing of you except that you receive its gift, that you let its warmth touch your face, your hands, your heart. The flame flickers, just slightly, in the evening breeze, and with each gentle movement, shadows dance across the windowsill, across the small clay pot of herbs growing there, across the worn wooden shutters that frame this perfect scene. These are not the harsh shadows of judgment, of comparison, of all the ways you've learned to measure yourself against impossible standards. These are the soft shadows of mystery, of possibility, of the beautiful unknown that waits when you finally allow yourself to rest in not knowing, not performing, not being anything other than exactly who you are in this moment, tired, real, deserving of this gentle light. And oh, how this little lamp understands. It doesn't burn to impress, doesn't strain to outshine the stars. It simply offers what it has, steadily, faithfully, beautifully, just as you do, day after day, offering your light to a world that too often forgets to say thank you, forgets to see the miracle of your simple, constant, generous presence. The oil burns clean and sweet, filling the air with the faintest scent of olives, of the Mediterranean sun that kiss those ancient groves, of hands that press the oil with care, with intention, with the understanding that even the simplest things, the most everyday things, can hold sacred purpose when tended with love. From this window, this perfect vantage point, you can see into the narrow alleyway below, and what a sight awaits you there. The cobblestones, laid by Roman hands 2,000 years ago, stretch out in a gentle curve, each stone worn smooth by countless footsteps, each one holding the memory of all who have walked this way before you. Moonlight spills down between the buildings, silver and soft and impossibly beautiful, transforming these ancient stones into something magical, something that speaks to the part of your soul that has always known that night is not the absence of day, but the presence of something else entirely, something mysterious, something that holds space for all the parts of yourself you're not allowed to show in daylight. The alley is empty now, peaceful, yours to explore without hurry, without destination. The walls rise on either side, not confining, but embracing, creating a corridor of safety, of intimacy, of the deep privacy your spirit craves. Here, in this narrow space between buildings, between day and night, between who you must be and who you truly are, you can finally breathe. Simple doorways punctuate the walls, each one telling a story, each one holding the promise of home, of rest, of lives lived quietly, beautifully, without fanfare. These are not the grand entrances of palaces, not the imposing facades that demand attention. These are the humble thresholds of real life, real people, real moments of peace stolen from the endless demands of existence. And the windows, some dark now, their occupants already surrendered to sleep, already wrapped in dreams, others glowing softly, like the lamp on our windowsill, each one a beacon of human warmth, human presence, human understanding that even in solitude, we are not alone. We are held by this ancient city, by this eternal rhythm of day and night, of work and rest, of performance and peace. The moonlight catches the texture of the stones, highlighting every small imperfection, every weathered edge, every sign of age and use, and the beautiful patina that comes only from being lived with, loved with, walked upon by generations of feet, just like you, carrying their burdens, their hopes, their exhaustion, their dreams. And isn't there something profoundly comforting in this? In knowing that your weariness, your need for rest, your longing for spaces where you can simply be, is not weakness, not failure, but part of the most ancient human story, part of what connects you to every soul who has ever walked these stones, who has ever sought the gentle refuge of lamplight, who has ever found peace in the mysterious embrace of night. The alley curves gently ahead, disappearing around a corner that promises more mysteries, more quiet discoveries, more moments like this when the world shrinks down to just the right size, when everything that seemed so urgent, so demanding, so impossible to carry, suddenly feels manageable, held, contained within these ancient walls, within this gentle light, within the eternal rhythm of a city that has seen everything, understood everything, forgiven everything. A cat appears, padding silently across the cobblestones, pausing to look up at our window, at our lamp. Its eyes reflect the golden light for just a moment, and then it continues on its mysterious journey, unhurried, unworried, perfectly at home in this liminal space between day and night, between the known and unknown, between effort and ease. And you too can move through your world with this same graceful acceptance, this same trust in the rhythm of things, this same understanding that not every moment requires your performance, your solution, your endless giving. Some moments, like this one, ask only that you receive, that you rest, that you let the gentle light of your own being shine, not because anyone needs it, but simply because it's beautiful, because it's yours, because it's enough. The lamp flame settles into perfect stillness. The alley holds its peaceful secrets. And you are exactly where you need to be, held by ancient stones, blessed by gentle light, wrapped in the mysterious safety of a Roman night that understands, that sees, that welcomes your weary soul home. Danaa, nature's embrace, olive groves and vineyards. And as the ancient city settles deeper into its evening embrace, we find ourselves drawn beyond the weathered walls, beyond the familiar stones, into the gentle countryside that has cradled Rome for countless generations. The same hills that witnessed the footsteps of emperors, the same groves that sheltered philosophers seeking wisdom in solitude, the same earth that has offered its quiet sanctuary to weary souls across the centuries. Here, just beyond the city's edge, the olive groves begin their ancient dance with twilight, silver leaves catching the last whispers of daylight, shimmering like scattered coins, like gentle prayers offered to the darkening sky. Each tree a testament to patience, to the slow wisdom of growing deep rather than fast, of finding strength not in reaching frantically upward, but in spreading roots through rich, dark earth. The air here carries different stories, softer stories. The scent of wild herbs crushed underfoot, the distant sweetness of ripening fruit, the clean smell of earth that has been tended with love for generations upon generations. This is where the city comes to breathe, where even the busiest merchant, the most dedicated mother, the most burdened citizen can remember what it feels like to simply be. Walk with me now through these silver groves. Feel how the path beneath your feet changes from worn stone to soft earth, how your shoulders begin to drop as the space opens around you, as the endless sky reminds you that there is room, so much room, for all that you carry, all that you are. The olive trees stand like ancient guardians, their gnarled trunks telling stories of seasons weathered, of storms survived, of years when the harvest was abundant and years when it was lean. Yet still they stand, still they offer their quiet shade, their patient presence. Marcus Aurelius walked paths like these, seeking in nature what the marble halls of power could never provide, the simple truth that we are part of something larger, something that moves at its own rhythm, something that doesn't demand performance or perfection, only presence, only the willingness to receive what is freely given. The philosopher-emperor understood that true strength comes not from commanding armies, but from learning to be still enough to hear the wisdom that whispers in rustling leaves, in the gentle settling of earth, in the slow, patient breathing of trees. And here, scattered beneath the silver branches, the fallen olives rest like dark jewels against the earth, each one a small completion, a quiet success. They don't cling desperately to the branch, don't fight the natural rhythm of release. They simply fall when it's time, trusting that this too is part of their purpose, part of their gift to the world. How different this is from the frantic grasping we know so well, the exhausting effort to hold on to everything, to be everything, to never let anything fall that others might need us to carry. But here, in the grove, falling is not failure. It's fulfillment. It's the olive completing its journey from blossom to fruit to nourishment. It's the tree's way of saying, I have given what I came to give, and now I release it with love. And you, dear one, you who have given so much, carried so much, held so much together for so long, what would it feel like to trust this same rhythm, this same natural wisdom of holding and releasing, of giving and resting, of being enough exactly as you are? The light grows softer now, more golden, as we follow the winding path that leads from olive grove to vineyard, where the rolling hills unfold like a gentle green sea. Row upon row of grapevines creating patterns of such simple beauty, such honest purpose, each vine finding its own way to the light, yet all part of the same magnificent tapestry, the same ancient dance between earth and sky, between seed and harvest, between dreaming and becoming. Here the air shimmers with possibility, with the sweet promise of fruit still ripening, still becoming what it's meant to be. There's no rushing here, no forcing, No demanding that the grapes be ready before their time, only the patient tending, the daily care, the trust that what is planted in love will flourish in its own season, in its own perfect timing, and in the distance, nestled among the golden hills like a secret shared between friends, a small village catches the last light, its terracotta roofs glowing warm and welcoming, smoke rising gently from evening fires, the promise of home, of belonging, of places where you can arrive exactly as you are. This is what the countryside offers, what it has always offered to those wise enough to seek it, the remembering that we too are part of this natural rhythm, this patient unfolding, this gentle cycle of growth and rest, of effort and ease. We too are meant to have seasons, times of active giving and times of quiet receiving, times of reaching toward the light and times of sending roots deeper into nourishing darkness. The Roman poets knew this, wrote of it in verses that still echo across the centuries, the understanding that true wealth is not found in the accumulation of possessions or achievements, but in moments like these, when the soul recognizes its kinship with growing things, with patient things, with things that know how to be beautiful without trying, how to be valuable without proving, how to be enough without performing. As the golden light deepens around us, as the vineyards settle into their evening peace, feel how your own breathing begins to match this slower rhythm, this deeper pace. Feel how the constant urgency that drives your days begins to soften here, begins to remember that there is another way, a way that honors both the doing and the being, both the caring for others and the caring for yourself, both the reaching out and the drawing in. The grapevines don't apologize for taking up space, for spreading their leaves wide to catch the light they need. They don't feel guilty for drawing nourishment from the earth, for asking the rain to come, for requiring rest in winter. They simply trust that their needs matter, that their well-being serves not just themselves, but the whole, that in caring for their own growth, they create the abundance that feeds and delights the world. And you, walking now through this golden evening light, breathing in the sweet air of ripening fruit and silver leaves, you are invited to remember this same truth, that your well-being matters, that your rest serves not just you but everyone you love, that in caring for your own soul, in honoring your own rhythms, in allowing yourself to receive as well as give, you create a different kind of abundance, a different kind of nourishment for the world. The hills hold this wisdom, have held it since before Rome was even dreamed, will hold it long after our particular worries have faded into the vast, patient memory of earth. And tonight, in this gentle hour between day and night, between the olive grove and the vineyard, between the ancient and the eternal, you are held too, supported, seen, blessed by the same light that blesses the growing things, loved by the same earth that loves the patient vines, welcomed into the same rest that welcomes the silver trees into another peaceful night. Inner sanctum, the scribe's desk and the shrine. And as the earth holds you in its ancient embrace, we find ourselves drawn back toward the more intimate spaces, the quieter corners where Roman life unfolded in whispered contemplation, away from the open fields and silver groves, back through the gentle evening air, toward the places where solitude became sacred, where the day's last light gathered itself into something precious, something meant for reflection, for the quiet work of the soul. Here, in a small room tucked away from the world's noise, a scribe's desk waits in patient stillness, the wooden surface, worn smooth by countless hours of quiet labor, bears the gentle marks of dedication, of words carefully chosen, thoughts slowly formed. The grain of the wood catches the light, tells its own story of growth and patience, of a tree that knew how to wait, how to become something useful, something beautiful in its simplicity. A single candle burns, its flame steady and sure, casting a circle of golden warmth that seems to hold the entire world within its glow. The light doesn't reach far, doesn't try to illuminate everything at once. Instead, it creates a small sanctuary, a place where the darkness becomes not empty, but full of possibility, full of peace. The shadows dance gently along the walls, soft, welcoming, like old friends who know when to speak and when to simply be present. Parchment scrolls rest beside the inkwell, some rolled tight with the day's completed work, others lying open, revealing the careful script that flows across their surface like small rivers of thought. The words themselves seem to breathe, to carry within them not just meaning, but the quiet intention of their creation, each letter formed with care, each line a meditation, a prayer written in the language of attention, of presence, of love made visible through the simple act of putting pen to paper. The quill, its feather soft and curved, waits beside the inkwell like a faithful companion. It has known the gentle pressure of fingers, the slight tremor that comes with choosing just the right word, the satisfaction of a thought finally captured, finally given form. There's something deeply peaceful about this tool, this bridge between the world of ideas and the world of substance, between the heart's whisper and the page's patient listening. The inkwell itself, dark and mysterious, holds within its depths the possibility of countless stories, countless prayers, countless quiet conversations between soul and parchment. The ink waits, ready to flow, ready to become whatever the heart needs to say, whatever the mind needs to remember, whatever the spirit needs to release into the safekeeping of paper and time. And nearby, in an alcove carved into the wall, a small shrine holds its own quiet vigil. This sacred space, no larger than a child's embrace, speaks of devotion that doesn't need grand gestures, doesn't need marble columns or golden ornaments. Here, faith lives in the language of simplicity, of daily attention, of small offerings made with great love. The household gods, carved from simple stone, watch over this intimate space with faces that have learned patience, that have witnessed the daily rhythms of human hope and gratitude, their expressions, neither stern nor distant, but gentle, understanding. They seem to know that the deepest prayers are often the quietest ones, the ones whispered in the space between one breath and the next, between one day's ending and another's beginning. Before them, a small offering waits, fresh fruit, its skin still warm with the day's sun, speaks of abundance received, of earth's generosity acknowledged. The apples, round and perfect, carry within them the memory of blossoming trees, of patient seasons, of harvest celebrated not with noise, but with quiet thanksgiving. A cluster of grapes, purple dark and sweet, reminds us that the best gifts often come in small packages, that sweetness is meant to be savored, not consumed, but truly tasted, truly received. Flowers, gathered from some hidden garden, add their own gentle presence to this sacred arrangement. Their petals, soft as whispered prayers, release a fragrance that seems to carry the very essence of beauty, of life lived in harmony with the turning seasons, with the ancient rhythms that know when to bloom, when to rest, when to offer their gifts to the world, when to simply be beautiful for beauty's sake. The shrine's small flame, even tinier than the candle at the desk, flickers with a light that seems to come from somewhere deeper than fire, somewhere older than time. It burns not to illuminate, but to sanctify, to mark this space as holy, as set apart for the kind of conversation that happens between the human heart and the vast mystery that holds us all. The light dances, constant yet ever-changing, like breath, like hope, like the quiet persistence of love itself. Here, in this small room, between the desk and the shrine, between the work of the hands and the work of the heart, we find something that speaks to the deepest part of us, the part that knows we need both, the quiet labor of creating something beautiful, and the quiet surrender of offering our gratitude, our hopes, our very selves to something larger, something that receives our small gifts with infinite tenderness. The air itself seems different here, charged with the accumulated peace of countless quiet hours, of prayers offered, words written, thoughts carefully tended like small gardens of the soul. This is the peace that comes not from the absence of work, but from work done with love, from attention paid, from the sacred ordinary of a life lived in gentle communion with both purpose and mystery. And tonight, as you rest in your own quiet space, you carry this same capacity for sacred attention, for creating beauty in small ways, for offering your own quiet prayers to the mystery that holds us all. You too know the peace of work done with love, of words chosen carefully, of gratitude offered simply, of a heart that has learned to find the sacred in the ordinary, the eternal in the intimate, the divine in the daily rhythm of simply showing up, simply being present, simply being you. The unseen lives, finding peace in the ordinary, and in these sacred moments of ordinary devotion, you begin to see them, the unseen lives that moved through these same spaces, the freedman named Marcus who tends the afternoon baths. You can almost see him now, moving quietly through the steamy chambers, his hands weathered from years of careful work, adjusting the temperature of the pools, laying out fresh linens with the same attention you might give to setting a table for someone you love. He knows each patron's preferences, the senator who likes his water almost scalding, the merchant's wife who prefers the cooler pools, the young mother who comes seeking relief for her aching shoulders. But it's in the quiet moments between duties that Marcus finds his peace. When the last patron has left and the evening light filters through the high windows, when the steam rises like incense in the gathering dusk, he sits for a moment on the marble edge of the pool, feels the warm stone beneath him, listens to the gentle lapping of water against the sides. In this moment, Marcus is not a freedman or a servant. He is simply a soul finding rest. His tired feet soak in the warm water, his shoulders release the day's tension, and for these precious minutes, he belongs completely to himself, to this moment, to this simple pleasure of warmth and quiet. You understand this, don't you? This need to steal moments of peace within the demands of caring for others, this quiet rebellion of rest, this insistence that your inner life matters, even when the world seems to need so much from you. And there, in the baker's stall, as the last customers depart, Livia wipes flour from her hands and steps outside into the cooling air. All day she has kneaded and shaped and tended the ovens, her movements a meditation of their own, the rhythm of work that feeds others, that sustains community, that transforms simple grain into sustenance. But now, as the sun sets over the 7 hills, she allows herself this moment. She breathes in the evening air, notices how it carries the scent of jasmine from a nearby garden, how it cools her flushed cheeks, how it reminds her that she, too, needs nourishment, not just the bread of her hands making, but the bread of beauty, of rest, of simple presence. Livia's hands, strong from years of kneading, gentle now as they touch the wooden counter she has wiped clean. These same hands that have fed countless families, that have risen before dawn to tend the fires, that have never quite lost the faint scent of yeast and grain. These hands know their worth, not from what they produce, but from the love they carry, the intention they hold, the care they offer. You too have hands like these, hands that have given and tended and created, hands that deserve their own moments of rest, their own gentle acknowledgement, their own quiet honoring. And in the scriptorium, as evening shadows lengthen, the young scribe, Claudia, sets down her reed pen and flexes her fingers. All day she has copied texts, preserving wisdom, transmitting stories, her careful letters a bridge between minds across time, her work invisible to most, yet essential, like so much of what sustains the world. She looks at the scroll she has been copying, a poem about the changing seasons, and for a moment she is not the scribe but the reader, not the vessel but the recipient. She lets the words wash over her. In every ending lives a beginning. In every rest lies new strength. Claudia understands what the poet meant, how the work of preservation requires its own rhythms, how the hand that writes must also rest, how the mind that concentrates must also wander, how the heart that serves must also receive. In her small room above the scriptorium, she keeps a window box of herbs, basil and rosemary and thyme, nothing grand or elaborate, just a small rebellion of green life, a tiny insistence that beauty matters, that growing things deserve space, that even the most dedicated worker needs something that exists purely for joy. You know this too. This need for your own small rebellions of beauty, your own insistence that life holds more than duty, your own quiet cultivation of what makes your heart lighter, what reminds you of who you are beneath all you do for others. These ordinary Romans, Marcus and Livia and Claudia, they understood something we sometimes forget, that peace is not a luxury reserved for the wealthy or the idle, that rest is not earned through perfection, that the sacred lives not in grand temples alone, but in the freedman's moment of soaking tired feet, in the baker's evening breath of jasmine air, in the scribe's window box of herbs. They knew that their lives, ordinary as they seemed, were worthy of tenderness, worthy of attention, worthy of the same gentle care they gave to others. And you, in your own ordinary moments, when you finally set down the day's demands, when you allow your shoulders to soften, when you remember that you too are worthy of the care you so freely give, you join this ancient lineage of souls who understood that being human is enough, that showing up is sacred, that rest is not selfish but necessary. In the gathering darkness of this Roman evening, these unseen lives settle into their own forms of peace. Marcus drawing a blanket around his shoulders, Livia lighting a small lamp in her window, Claudia closing her eyes and listening to the night sounds of the city. And you too can rest now, knowing that your ordinary life, your daily efforts, your quiet moments of beauty and reflection are part of this same eternal story, this same sacred rhythm of work and rest, of giving and receiving, of being seen and held by something larger than yourself. You are not alone in your weariness, not alone in your need for peace, not alone in your longing to be known for who you are, not what you do. You belong to this lineage of ordinary souls, finding extraordinary grace in simple moments, finding the sacred in the everyday, finding peace in the beautiful ordinariness of being human. The enduring lesson, stillness within. And so you carry this ancient wisdom with you now, this understanding that rest is not earned but given, that peace is not a reward for productivity, but a birthright of being alive. The Romans knew this. In their courtyards at dawn, in their quiet moments between the demands of empire and family, in their recognition that even the most ordinary life contains moments of extraordinary grace. You can return to that baker's stall whenever you need to, smell the lingering warmth of bread, feel the flour dust settling like blessing on wooden counters. You can visit the empty bathhouse, let steam rise around you like prayers, let warm water hold your tired body, let light filter through windows like hope through weariness. These places live in you now. These moments of odium, this sacred art of meaningful rest. The oil lamp still flickers on its windowsill, casting gentle shadows that dance without urgency, illuminating the truth that you are enough, exactly as you are, tired and tender and beautifully human. The moonlit cobblestones still hold the footsteps of all who have walked this path before you, seeking peace, seeking rest, seeking the quiet recognition that their souls matter. In the olive groves, ancient trees continue their patient growing, roots deep in earth that has held countless generations of the weary, branches reaching toward sky that has witnessed every human longing for peace. The rhythm of seasons continues, the wisdom of knowing when to bloom and when to rest, when to give and when to receive, when to shine and when to simply be held by darkness. Marcus Aurelius understood this, writing by candlelight in his tent, emperor and philosopher and tired human soul, knowing that true strength comes not from endless doing, but from moments of sacred stillness, from the courage to stop, to breathe, to remember that we are more than our productivity, more than our performance, more than our endless giving to others. The scribe's desk waits in patient silence, scrolls unfurled like possibilities, candle flame steady as heartbeat, reminding you that your thoughts matter, your inner world has value, your need for quiet contemplation is not selfish but necessary. The household shrine holds its simple offerings, fruit and flowers and the recognition that ordinary moments can be holy, that setting down your burdens is itself a prayer. Marcus, the bath attendant, Livia, the baker, Claudia, the scribe, they walk beside you still, ordinary souls who found extraordinary peace in simple moments, who understood that being human is enough, that rest is sacred, that you deserve to be held by something larger than your own efforts. This is the enduring lesson, this gift of odium, this Roman art of meaningful rest. It lives in you now, in the spaces between your busy moments, in the pause before you answer another demand, in the breath you take before you give again, in the recognition that your soul needs tending, that your weariness is holy, that your longing for peace is shared by every human heart that has ever beaten. You are held by moonlight on ancient stones, by steam rising from sacred waters, by the patient wisdom of olive trees, by the gentle flame of oil lamps, by the understanding that rest is not laziness, but love. Love for the tender soul that carries so much, gives so much, deserves so much peace. And so you rest now, in this lineage of the beautifully ordinary, held by the ancient rhythm of day and night, of work and rest, of giving and receiving, knowing that in this moment, in this breath, in this sacred stillness, you are exactly where you belong, exactly who you are meant to be, exactly enough.